Right, Jake, I'm going to go live in a minute, alright?
Mic on.
I believe that means my mic is on. Wow, this is unprecedented. We're doing an emergency broadcast. Do not change your channels. Do not go away and make a cup of tea. Do not go into the fridge and look for piccalilli and cheese sandwiches. Because tonight, Speed Demon from RWB is racing with Open Visor Race Club at Nürburgring GT3s. So this is a off-the-cuff transmission. No chance to reach out to Open Visor Race Club to see whether they're all right with us doing this. And I'm sure they will do, and I will plug them as much as we possibly can throughout the stream. But let's be perfectly frank, this whole stream is about that man you're looking at there. That's our number one in RWB. That's our Speed Demon. That's our alien. That's he who is above all else in RWB. We all aspire to be as fast and as controlled and as calm and collected as that man. And whilst there are a couple in RWB that are right on the fringes of that, they will be the first to admit that they're actually might as well be a mile away from stepping into the shoes. So tonight is all about seeing how he does, focusing this stream on the very best of us among us, and seeing how he does in this event. Now, I don't know anything else about the event. I don't know the duration. All I do know is we've got 5 minutes left of practice. I'm pretty much going to be doing this off the cuff. So what I'll do is I'll give you some time now to gather your thoughts, make yourself a cup of tea, etc. You've got 4 minutes and 48 seconds left. And whilst I quickly zip around and gather some interesting things for you for the stream. All right. See you later.
Mic off. Mic on.
All right, welcome back. So we've got 1 minute and 25 seconds left of this practice session before we see our own RWB Speed Demon out there on this Open Visor Race Club event at Nürburgring. Jake is in the R8 tonight, his favourite pink R8 that has won the GT3 class from the recent endurance event that we had on Saturday. If you haven't seen that, by the way, zip along and have a watch. Be warm though, grab a beer or a coffee because it's 3 hours and 36 minutes long, and if that's a long time to watch it, try doing it, and I did, and hurts. Far easier to watch it. I've no details tonight on the event itself, the duration and so forth, but we'll see that in a minute. Oh, there he is. I haven't even introduced him. He just pops up. He has that ability. So it's a 60-minute race, and Speed is in the channel with us. Speed, not nervous about this at all?
I'm breaking it.
Yeah,
To be honest,
I
always get nervous before a league race. No matter how long I've been doing it, I still get nervous.
we won't tell anybody that at all because you're above all of that. But there you go. Perhaps not. He's actually human. So there you go. So 1 hour around Nürburgring. I think this is the GP circuit that they're doing. Do you know whether it's the one with the extended chicane, the F1 chicane?
No, it's the fast chicane.
All right, fast chicane. So essentially about 3.1 miles, 5.1 kilometres. We'll see in a minute how many cars are out there. As we're now going to enter a 15-minute qualifying session, and there goes our own Jake. Let's jump in cockpit with him. Jake, just say greenhouse if I'm putting you off at all as I'm commentating, and I'll move you into a private channel or deafen myself for you. Lovely livery that, the R8. Jake now just going out on his warm-up lap. I can tell you, having a look at the practice session before I coupled together some data to go live with this, and thanks very much for FX for the last minute jump in and helping me, our super wizard. Pretty much, you know, he wasn't going at 100%, certainly not, and he was in the top 3. So, you know, we're expecting good things as we normally do with regards to the qualifying time. But we need to be frank. This is a good club. There are some good racers in it, some fast racers out there, and you know, we'll see how he does. Jake is one of 3 racers tonight, representing in the bigger scheme of things the United Kingdom. We've got Tom Pottage in an AMG Mercedes, and Stephen Higgins in a BMW M6. So, sadly, Jake's tag there doesn't say RWB International, but I can tell you now, if you're watching this, you know exactly who this man is. He's our #1 from RWB International, the winner of the 3-hour GT3 endurance event, as he comes along the start line now to cross for his qualifying lap. And now I'll be quiet and let him do it.
Mic off. Mic on.
Okay, I can tell you now that Jake's lap was invalidated, but he's going. He's taking a breather now. So far, top time there, 1:54.149. Thomas Jansen in the BMW M6. Jake going out again for his warm-up lap. Of course, he's got traffic out there now, so he's going to be contending with that. I can tell you, as most people will in RWB, that traffic doesn't actually bother speed. He elevates above it, levitates above them, but traffic is traffic nonetheless, and that makes it slightly more difficult to get a good time in. But you know, I know one thing of this man, and that is that he will engineer a situation where there is enough time and space to be able to put a quick lap in, and that's what we're looking for. So as I said, 1:54.1 for Thomas Jansen in the M6 there, and a 1:54.269 with Thomas Olsen in the AMG, and third place currently Alexander Sesha, also in the AMG in the 1:54, same livery actually. Jake now one of 11 that haven't qualified or put a qualifying time in. Currently 23 runners out there, 9 minutes 20 seconds left of this session. So you know, plenty of time to at least 4 laps worth to put a good time in there. But as you can see now, he's starting to come into traffic. I want to point out as well that Jake is in channel with me, so he's not only concentrating on driving, but he's having to listen to my dulcet tones, and that in itself can be a bit of a put off. I think that's why my wife doesn't talk to me anymore, and the children have left home. But nonetheless, as I said earlier, if it gets too much, all he's got to do is say shut up, and I'll deafen myself, and he can concentrate on doing what he needs to does. But it just doesn't affect him the way it does the rest of us. So fear not. Not the weakling tonight. All right then. I will, however, pipe down now as he crosses the line for a fast lap.
Mic off. Mic on.
Quickest time, Sector 1, 53.3.
Mic off. Mic on.
Quickest time, Sector 2, 1:35.5.
Mic off. Mic on.
There you go, Speed has completed 1 lap, that's put him in 3rd place, he's going round again.
Mic off. Mic on.
Interrupting Speed 2nd qualifying lap now. For all those watching, there's 11 of you on YouTube at the minute. This is a race that Speed is doing with Open Visor Race Club. He's currently in this league, been invited in. Currently running 3rd in qualifying. If you're an RWB member and you're not racing tonight, you're not doing anything, then please come along, watch and give your passive support. And get on Discord, and if there are people waffling in there, then tell them to come and watch and support. The race is an hour long, and there's 5 minutes and 35 seconds, 5 minutes and 23 seconds, sorry, left of qualifying. I'm going to shut up now and let Speed finish the qualifying time. He's with us in the channel, so perhaps he'll talk to us on the way around.
Mic off. Mic on.
Jake crosses a second qualifying lap there, second place with a 1:53.7, 1/10 of a second, or less than 1/10 actually. Four hundredths, sorry, off of no, 4/10, 4/10 off of the leading time there. I think he's going around again. So qualifying second place, that's good. But of course, as ever, he's going to want more than that, so he'll give it another bop and give it another crack.
Mic off. Mic on.
Okay, as you can see, he's just completed the first sector there. He's fastest out there with a 53.250.
Mic off. Mic on.
All right,
All
right, good. Now I'm conscious that on the stream they can hear mic on, mic off, mic on, mic off. Well, I'm very sorry about that. Here we go. Hang on. Let me.
Mic feedback off.
No, we don't want that.
Mic feedback on.
Yeah, we want that. Let's. I don't want to completely and utterly ruin the stream, but I think the majority of times this will be on, especially during the race. So there you go. So Speed, we've got 2.5 minutes left. You just qualified in second place, 1:53.7. Happy with that?
Not really. It wasn't. It's a qualifying lap, but it wasn't what I was hoping for. I made quite a few mistakes in it. The nerves obviously kicked in.
And are there any pit stops on this at all?
Not that I'm aware of. It didn't say in the write-up for it.
Right, so you're going to go straight out there, race for an hour. And I'm assuming everyone's on hard tyres. Is it default setup, do you know?
No, it's open setup.
Open setup. Fuel and tyre wear.
Yeah, everyone's on fuel, tyres, and.
And what about main competitors out there tonight? You've qualified second, so that, as you say, not really happened with that. My missus was standing next to me when you said no, not really, which made her chuckle. Of course, you're not happy with that. I think most of us would be fairly content with that, but quite rightly, you're in a different league. That said, though, what are your main competitors out there? Do you know any of these racers?
No, I don't know anyone. I know Thomas Jensen. Thomas Jensen is one of the race room devs.
Right.
He's the one behind this new GT3 update.
Okay.
A lot of it. So obviously, I'd expect to have a good battle with him. That Mike, I've seen him about the leaderboards. Thomas, obviously there was meant to be Delkin was meant to race in this. He's the one that taught me into doing it.
Yeah.
So But
talk you into
obviously,
doing it and hasn't turned up.
yeah, he's got a good reason. He's got a Forza Esports comp coming up that he has to practice for. So
Now I'm just looking. There are 3 other Audis out there tonight. Mike Stoffmeal, Konstantin Romanenko, and Christoph Verstappen. It's a great, wonderful array of different countries and flags out there for this event. Absolutely marvellous to see. And glad you were invited onto this. This is really good. So look, I don't know whether you want me to deafen you in channel or whatever. You know what I'm like. I get a little bit excited. Do you want that?
you probably can mute your mic to Discord, and then still
Mute
your
my
stream will still
mic.
pick.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
can,
you know
can't
what?
I?
Yeah, do mute your mic and.
Yes, let's do that, and then I can come to you at appropriate times. Let me mute myself to you. Before I do, on behalf of everyone from RWB, good luck to you.
Thank you. I don't even know if it's a rolling start or fuck, I'm just going to go for it.
There you go then. So, wow, this is good. This is great. So this is for RWB Speed Demon, waving the colours of RWB out there in a field of 23 for a GT race around Nürburgring. 1 hour long. They've had their qualifying session. Speed qualified in second.
That's just what I wanted. Debug sending me a fucking. Stop sending me them messages on for fucking fuck off.
Yeah, please don't send him any messages. Okay, and they're away. Okay, maintaining second position then, coming up to the first corner. And keeps his second position into T1. Looking like Mike Stoffmeal on the inside there, taking a look, but Speed keeps his line now as they all manage to get round T1. Coming into Mercedes Arena, Speed maintains second position. In a good position there, but right behind him, Mike Stoffmeal, whoever's watching me on, whoever's posting me. In fact, you know, it's a shame Debug can't see this, and it would be great to have him on board, but I only just managed to get it the last minute myself. But anyway, so yeah, so Speed in second place now, gap of a 1.5. So you know the leader Thomas Janssen in the BMW M6 certainly pulling away now, as they're coming down to. Crikey, holy moly! I really must learn the circuit better. As they're coming up towards the Michelin, they're just going through Schumacher S, aren't they? Good grief. Through the Schumacher S, yeah, up into the Michelin curve. Speed still in second place there. Stoffmeal right up his jacksie. Through the Michelin curve and around now to Warsteiner, down the hill and up the hill towards the NGK chicane. Remember, this is the fast chicane on this one. Still with Jake now, in cockpit with Jake. That's the leader's gap there into the NGK chicane. The fast chicane here, third gear, flat out, so just a slight lift just before going into the final corner. Into the Coca-Cola curve and out of the curve along to the main straight. Speed does the first lap in a 2 minutes .9 versus a 2 minutes .2 of the leader there, Thomas Janssen. On the wing of Speed Demon, we've got that man there, Mike Stoffmeal, and as you can see, look at these three are starting to pull away, as we can see the two red AMGs of Thomas Olsen and Alex Sesha from now on. I apologise if I got that wrong, but let's keep our eye on this fella there, that blue and yellow, beautiful colour, blue and yellow Audi R8, staying fairly close to Speed, but already we can see on this second lap Speed starting to pull away from him, currently with a 2 second gap, but in turn Thomas Janssen out in the front there with a 1 second gap. You can see this here, 1 second in these cars is nothing, but when you've got such a talented field as this, then 1 second can be, well, next to no time at all. Essentially, 1 second for me would be would be a mile, but you know, these guys can make it or lose it in very short period, very short time, and very easily. There we go then, coming up to the coming up to what is essentially the Michelin curve, through the Warsteiner again, down the hill and then back up the hill. The slight kink to the right there, just jump into the cockpit there, is the Advan bend, through that now, and up the hill to the Coca-Cola chicane, which is, it may have a different name because it's extended. The original chicane is immediately left there, extending through into the last corner, the Coca-Cola curve, sorry, the chicane being the NGK chicane, and then back onto the straight. Now let's have a look at Jake's time now. So the leader goes through on a 2 minutes 154.59 versus Speed Demons 154.34. So, you know, absolutely nothing in it, these two, neck and neck pretty much. And Mike Stoffmill, as you can see there, you know, just starting to drop back now, but staying within the boundaries of a 1.8 and 2 seconds behind Jake. And Jake now starting to look at Thomas Janssen in the Mercedes arena. Perhaps he's starting to, you know, if there's one thing with Speed Demon that every single body knows in RWB, even those extremely talented members of RWB, Rodders, Beans, Rigel, you know, you don't give Speed an inch, not a millimetre, because if you do, he will rip it away from you and shove it down your throat. And that's my advice to Thomas Janssen as well. Don't give him anything, because he will take it from you. And of course, you know, we want him to, don't we? He is flying our colours out there as our top racer. Fantastic to see him out there on this event. Open Visor Racing Club, fair play to you. Great event, it looks like. 22 runners out there on this 1 hour Nürburgring event. Had we known about it beforehand, actually, maybe we would have drummed up a bit more support for you. We're doing our best, and of course our apologies if you're fairly sort of copyrightish about your stream. I don't think you were taking us to court, but it was a very last minute thing, us getting this together. So again, apologies to RWB members for not giving them a heads up. But if you are an RWB member and you're in YouTube now, then for the love of God, zip away right now, spread the word, get out here and give Speed your passive support by watching it. He's in Discord, and afterwards, depending on the result, hell, who cares about the result? But of course, give him your congratulations for raising the colours above the parapet, stepping up to the line. It's easy to race amongst those people you know, but when you go out there against those people that you don't, you're in a whole different world. He's the best of us, and we wouldn't want anyone else to well, I said we wouldn't want anyone else, of course we would, but he's the best of us. So if there's going to be one out there, then he's our man. In cockpit then with Speed, very close up to Thomas Janssen, 0.9 of a second. Coming down now into the Valvoline curve, Ford curve, coming down the hill now towards the Dunlop curve. Speed very quick down here, really late braking. Look at that, you know, you saw the leader there brake well before Speed done, and that's where Speed will just eat time away from you. I've seen him in real life, I've stood next to him as he's been on his sim, and when people have asked me what he's like, the first thing I say is, well, I can tell you now, he's not gentle. This guy is amongst a very small group of very extremely talented racers out there, and you know, they're very happy to break that kit. If that kit doesn't put up with their demands as a sim racer and it breaks, tough. Whereas for the majority of us, we don't want to break things. Speed is not gentle with his equipment, and very smooth, but not gentle. Demanding, very demanding. And he will slam down on those anchors, twice the speed and twice the strength that you or I would be able to do. I absolutely assure you of that. Coming up for the fourth lap, sorry. What sort of times have we got here? So the leader goes through in a 154.7. Speed goes through in a 154.6. A tenth brought up on Thomas Janssen there. 0.7 of a second behind him. Oh, and he just almost If that would have been me, I would have been in his rear seat, but Speed keeps his composure, allows Thomas Janssen to keep the line and just goes off and stays on the outside a bit. Into Mercedes Arena now. Now where's our Mike Schaffmel? There he is, right behind Speed. So these three in a league of their own, really. 8 seconds behind Mike Stoffmill. You've then got Thomas Olsen. So they really are in a league of their own. Look at that, a train of all three extremely talented racers out there. 1 M6, 2 R8s, Mike Stoffmill not giving up for anything whatsoever. Speed in cockpit with him now. You can see, you know, he's absolutely glued to him. And what Speed's waiting is he's waiting for just one small mistake. And that's all he's saying. Come on, Tom, just make one small mistake from me and I'll take it away from you. And you're going to be right here with us and you're going to witness that. We rarely get to see it. In fact, in just under a year of being with RWB, we've never done this. We've never done a full race sitting in the cockpit with the best of us and seeing what it looks like. Well, now you've got the opportunity to see is exactly how he goes about business. Shame I can't get the actual cockpit view, but you know, this is good enough for now. I think I've got this view, but that's too far away. Into the extended chicane then, up to Coca-Cola curve and coming up for lap 5, completion of lap 5. Around the curve, what sort of timings are we looking at here? Let's see now. Speed Demon now 0.9 of a second behind lead position. Lead crosses in a 154.9 speed. Again, 154.9. 8/100ths of a difference. Slightly wide into T1, but keeps his composure. Let's go for a wide shot now as Mike Stoffmill challenges coming around the corner. T2 into Mercedes Arena. Mike Stoffmill alongside Speed. Speed keeps the line, but Mike Stoffmill has got the, you would think has got the advantage, but of course he hasn't, because the exit there, as Speed says, not today, mate, not today. Speed keeps his second place. The majority of us would have shit our pants and just rolled off of the track at that point, but no, that is the difference, and that is what separates, and this is what we all aspire to be. This is the standard that we aspire to be, and if it's not the standard that you aspire to be in RWB, then may I kindly invite you to turn right, gain height and go elsewhere. We should all aspire to be this good, even if we're probably never ever going to meet these dizzy heights. Great piece of racecraft there, and that's how you do it, and that's what racecraft is all about. Situational awareness, fair racing from both of these, and a fair play to Mike Stoffmill. Great tactic coming into T2 and into Mercedes Arena, but Speed kept his composure knowing he was on the inside for the exit. Fair play. Just going through the Warsteiner and down and up the hill through the Advan Bergen, the Advan Bend. And Speed has now extended away to, you know, 1.12 seconds from Mike Stoffmill, who was, as you saw, you know, pretty much glued to him. Now, why was he glued to him? He was glued to him because of the mistake in T1. Through the Coca-Cola curve, the last bend before coming across the straight. Let's now check our times. 154.4 for Thomas Janssen and a 155.3, clearly as a result of the problems at T1 that Speed had. Now let's watch Speed into T1 again. A little bit more composed this time, but as you see, Mike Stoffmill just takes that a little bit more on the inside and was almost in a position to challenge again. Speed will have noticed that. Really putting on the power and braking late into Mercedes Arena to try and get that man away from him, who's really applying the pressure. But unlike normal human beings with blood and vessels who would feel the pressure, this man is not. He's made out of wires, cables, hydraulic pumps, and some say his blood is made of Valvoline. All we know is it's called Speed, and this is why. Keeping the pressure on though, fair play onto first place, who has now extended away 2.7 seconds, ladies and gents, 2.7 seconds. Mike Stoffmill really keeping applying the pressure to Speed, only 0.7 of a second behind him in that blue and yellow R8. Beyond Mike Stoffmill, you can just see coming around the corner there Thomas Olsen in the red and white AMG. There he is there, just in the distance. But Speed in that beautiful pink R8. I'm not sure I could drive a pink R8. You've got to be of a special breed to be able to drive a pink R8, I think. But sure enough, Speed is of that. He is of that ilk, no question there. Very quickly, for those of you on YouTube, really appreciate it if anyone from RWB would generate some interest there, raise some questions, etc. I can only flick to it every now and then. Unlike my normal stream setup, I've also streaming this as well from home. And again, my apologies for streaming. I've had to reduce the bit rate. It's going to be nowhere near as good as RWB quality, but we don't really care, do we, because of this. You know, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the racing. We're not looking at the quality of... Oh, and Mike Stoffmill looks like he almost challenges Speed into Mercedes Arena again. It seems to be Mike... And someone is off there in an AMG, but it certainly seems to... And I think that was This Diangel from Belgium, sorry, I believe, in the AMG there, just off of Mercedes Arena. It certainly seems, doesn't it, coming into T1... that Mike Stoffmill is definitely, I would say, faster, or has a better line or a better exit speed from there. And as for the past 3 laps, challenge Speed in that area. If that is Speed's weakness or weak area for this race, then by now he's certainly recognised that and will address that certainly from a defensive line point of view on the next lap of that. I've no doubt. Thomas Janssen then out in front in the M6. Now, you know, crikey, 0.8 of a second in front. And again, retrospectively, and now 0.4 of a second, Mike Stoffmill challenging Speed just by virtue of his presence. You know, all over him like a nun in a cucumber field. All over him like a pigeon outside Greg's. All over him like my wife was when I first met her. And married 3 days later. That's not true. Anyway, here we go then. Thomas Janssen going through the NGK extended chicane around Coca-Cola Corner for what is now completing lap 8 of this 1 hour race with 44 minutes and 37 seconds to go. Thomas Janssen crosses the line in a 1:54.813, and unbelievably, Jake crosses in 1:54.813, exactly the same time. Lap 8, pace for pace. You know, Speed Demon, exactly the same pace as Thomas Janssen. Points to note, while I was drivelling on there and getting super excited, sitting in my chair with my blanket over my legs because I'm old and it's cold. Points to note is you saw the defensive line that Speed took. He knew that Mike Stoffmill was going to be all over him, and so just was a little bit more defensive rather than putting the power on immediately and leaving that gap, because he now knows if he leaves Mike Stoffmill a gap, Mike Stoffmill is going to take it, just like if Thomas Janssen leaves a gap, Speed is going to take it. These 3 here, this is where the race is. This is first, second and third right here, and willing to bet that with respect to the others, these 3 are in a different league. Of that there is no question. Now, to give you some sort of understanding of parity, you know, the first 3, 1:54.813, Thomas Janssen, 1:50. Oh, and Speed has gone off. Oh, Jesus Christ. Get me an ambulance, as he now rejoins the track in 4th place. Now Speed is up against it. Now this is where he really starts to plug in those extra hydraulic pumps. But you've seen the time and the pace that these other guys have got. I've no doubt that he'll catch up Thomas Olsen in the AMG. But with regards to Mike Stoffmill and Thomas Janssen, both of whom are doing dancing right now because they haven't got Speed attached to them, Speed is now in hunt mode. And if there's one thing worse than Speed in a follow mode, it's Speed in a hunt mode. Do not lose faith in your Speed Demon. As you can see, the rest of the pack there, you know, the rest of the pack are now starting to hunt Speed. Well, you know, with all respect to them, unless he has a couple more offs, you can hunt as much as you like. You're not going to catch him. Now, all these guys are on hard tyres. They're only 10 laps in. There's 42 minutes of the race left. Currently, you know, you're looking at Crikey, the 20 seconds really to first position. 20 seconds Jake has got to make up. And when you consider 154.813 was in first, 154.813 was in second, this was lap 9, and a 154.942 I believe it was in third place. The first three, that was Thomas, that was Speed and Mike Stoffmehl, were all pretty much neck and neck. And that tells me that that's going to be difficult for Speed to catch those two up. I do believe that he's going to catch up Thomas Olsen. I don't believe Thomas Olsen will be able to hold Speed off. But you know, this is Speed's race now. He knows what the job is. He knows what it is that he's got to do. And what he's got to do is he's got to catch Thomas Olsen. He's under a lot of pressure. He knows that this is being streamed. He knows that his buddies from RWB are watching it. He knows that his buddies from RWB are cheering him on, waving the colours of RWB in his pink R8. I need to have words with him about that, don't I? Pink R8. It's like those pinkies that you buy the kids' sweets. Wafer thin pinky. Here he is then into the extended NGK chicane round Coca-Cola corner. Now let's have a look at his time as he comes along the straight now, and there's our leader there, so he's on the same section, you know, he's on the straight there, not too difficult really. Leader just done that in a 154.531, notwithstanding Jake coming off. Guess what he done it in? 154.813. Now if that is not continuity for you, I don't know what is. 154.813. The man should have that tattooed onto his forehead, because he got that time 2 laps on the bounce, notwithstanding him coming off. Quite extraordinary. But he's not gone faster than the front two. He's not gone faster than the front two. 154.531 and a 154.777. But third place, which is where, you know, there he is there already. He's caught up. Currently he is, you know, so right now he is 5 seconds behind Thomas Olsen. In cockpit then with Speed, chasing Thomas Olsen. There he is there. There he is there, going through the Schumacher S's. Coming up to the Michelin curve. And into Warsteiner, and then down the hill, around the Advan, and then up the hill towards the extended chicane. I'm still just going to call it NGK. If it's named something else, I'm not too sure. I'm hoping I'm getting these corners right. I didn't get a chance to have a map up. I'm not, you know, my name's Tiger, not Intel. It's not. My name's Tiger, not Ryzen. And this is RWB, not Channel 3 or Channel 4 or ITV. Speed going around Coca-Cola curve now, coming onto the main straight. Leader's done that in a 154.9. Second place 154.7. Third place 155.1. Speed 155.0. He's now closed up the gap to Thomas Olsen, 3.4 seconds. So he is catching him. Coming into the first corner. Into the Mercedes, well, second now, into the Mercedes arena. There's his prey. That's what he wants. He wants to eat that one for dinner. Around Ford curve. Actually, no, that was still part of Mercedes arena, isn't it? Of course it is. Yeah, I think this is this is Valvoline, and this is Ford. That's right. I always get them mixed up. Into Ford, and then down to Dunlop. That's right. Valvoline, Ford, Dunlop. Anyone who wants to remember how I remember that? It's oil, car, tyre. OCT, oil, car, tyre. Into Dunlop curve, and then just this curve up here into the Michael Schumacher S's, or the Schumacher S's. Now let's go for a wide shot. There's Speed there, just going into Michelin. Now let's have a look at Thomas Janssen, first place. There's Thomas Janssen, and behind him Mike Stoffmehl, just going through Advan now, and up the hill towards NGK. In the background there, we'll just start to see speed. There he appears. But of course, he's got to get past Thomas Olsen first. 37 minutes and 7 seconds left of the race. The race is not over until that fat bird sings and falls off the branch. Wow. It's rude to eat and drink on a stream, but I've got to take a sip of coffee here, gents. Thomas Janssen, out there in the BMW. Second place, Mike Stoffmill, who was applying such great strategic pressure onto speed there, particularly coming into T1 and around Mercedes Arena. And throughout it all, speed rarely makes mistakes. There are a few people in RWB who can really apply the pressure to speed in chasing. But in the long run, there is just something that speed has got that we haven't got. But this guy here, Mike Stoffmill, certainly applied the pressure. Of that, there is no question. Now, on the wing with Thomas Olsen, there is RWB Speed Demon. Now 4 seconds, 3.8 seconds behind. Coming through the Michael Schumacher S's. Speed really now chasing this guy to retain his third position. It's only, 35 minutes left to run. Don't for a minute think that he's out of contention. Absolutely not. It's going to be difficult. No question about that. It's going to be difficult to secure within the top three. Sorry, within the top two. But I'm quietly confident that he will be able to secure a position that is at least third. And that's no disrespect to Thomas Olsen. Thomas Olsen is a very talented racer, of that there is no doubt, but I also know the abilities of speed, and well, this is Speed Stream. Why the hell shouldn't we big him up? Absolutely right. Into T1 then, which is, as we've seen, Speed's Achilles heel. It either goes in too fast or too slow, but on this occasion absolutely perfect. Chasing now Thomas Olsen into Mercedes Arena. This is really where Speed can make up a lot of time. He tends to brake very late and control that car in ways that you or I simply can't, and that's the most talented of RWB saying. That's not me. I'm certainly not amongst that group. I'm talking Rigel, I'm talking Beans, I'm talking Brothers, I'm talking Banksy Kai when he used to race with us, and incidentally I think he's back with RWB, and I'm fairly sure in saying that the doors are open and the arms are welcome, and we're looking forward to seeing Banksy Kai out there back with RWB and racing clean, fair and for position, of course. But there's something about this guy when you get him behind you that you sort of fall apart. Blood for Valvoline for blood, hydraulic pumps. Some say he's got a tattoo on his arse that says "My mother's name is Ford." But he loves his R8s, loves his Audi. 4.0, and it's fluctuating a lot, but about 4 seconds behind. Let's have a look. Let's do a count. Let's do a manual count. I can't rely on the timings. I just simply can't. S3S, you really are starting to ruin things now. Fantastic with the ranking systems that are up and coming, and the pulling of data from multiplayer servers. Fantastic sim, we love it, we support you, we love everything about it. But for the love of God, don't break the stuff which is absolutely vital to those people who watch and race, and that is timings. Extremely, extremely important. No timings, no situational awareness. No situational awareness, no conveyance. And lunatics like me cannot inform other lunatics like you out there on what's going on. Suffice it to say, about 2.5 seconds. About 2.5 seconds there, Jake, is on the stream we're showing between 4 and 6 seconds. That's not the case. 1, 2, about 2.5 seconds. Speed is now up. 1, 2. Yeah, about 2 seconds. We're currently on lap 15 now. Currently on lap 15. Let's have a look at the leader. Where is the race leader? Bosch, there he is, just gone round the Dunlop curve, coming up to the Michael Schumacher S. In cockpit with Mike Stoffmehl, that's the sort of look he's got. In cockpit with Thomas Olsen, that's what he's got. And an empty Michael Schumacher S's, or the Schumacher S's. And on the wing, there is Speed Demon, gaining down. What was, 4 seconds is now 1, 2 seconds. Late braking hard, a good setup, and utter confidence in his own abilities will close that gap within the next 5 laps. Of that I've no doubt. Thomas Olsen, very clearly a talented racer to keep speed at distance, although speed has opened up, has eaten away 2 seconds. You see there, most people would have broke, but speed carries so much speed through by virtue of changing down, no application of brakes whatsoever. Some of us would have broken just a slight dab and then changed down a couple of gears. Not this man. Don't try it, because if you're not good enough, you will just. So he's relying a lot on engine braking. Probably a little bit too much there as he came to a bit of a halt, but look how much speed he carried into T1. Let's do a time check now in speed's perspective there into Mercedes Arena. 1, 2 seconds. Really pushing that Audi R8. We can hear the tyres stretching and screaming and ripping themselves to pieces as Thomas Olsen now goes under the bridge into the Valvoline curve, into Ford curve, and now down the hill towards the Dunlop curve. Speed now on his tail. Let's do another count. 1, 2. I'd say that was just under 2 seconds. Let's do it when we're a little bit closer. Let's go for a wide shot. 1. Let's do it. 1, 2. It's about 2.1, 2.2 seconds. Still applying the pressure of that. There's no question there. With speed coming up to the Michelin curve, and into Warnsteiner. It's just such a privilege to sit in this car with him going around. I mean, it doesn't stop any of us, does it, when we're racing with speed, not being in our cockpit, crashing our car, and then just jumping in and seeing how he does business. But he is in a league of his own. There is no question. I have done this to Rodders, to Rigel, to Beans, to Evil. I've done it to Charger. I've done it to FX. I'm not just pulling names out. Who else was it? Marco. That's right, because someone spoke highly of Marco as a really fairly sort of quick racer in his time. I know he took some time out. These are people that I've sat in their cockpit by virtue of the fact they've got a lot of experience, or they've been doing this a long time, and seeing what I could personally learn from them. This is a bit like playing chess. It is not just the practice of playing chess against those who are better than you that make you a better chess player. It is watching chess. Personally, I'd rather smash my own skull in with a claw hammer than watch chess. But what I can do is I can watch sim racing, and I can watch motorsport. And from the cockpit, I don't think there's any better a view, really. I'm not a fan, I will be honest with you, with Lewis Hamilton. I respect him utterly, hugely, for being British, and for being a world champion, and for being one of the all-time greatest racing drivers out there. I absolutely do. But I've read his books, and as an individual, I think he's got some growing up to do. But one cannot deny his superior ability in a Formula 1 car. Even in a slower car, you would see that man push the car to its absolute limits and then brake. But what I can tell you is that when I first saw him race around Monaco, I was in awe at how fast that car was going, and the pure and simple danger that he was putting himself out. I'm not a stranger to danger in various different environments. There's a back marker there as Speed's just taken over from. Just taken over now. Not a stranger to danger and dangerous environments, but I watched that man in absolute awe, and I said to my wife, I could not drive that fast. Not even in my wildest dreams could I have driven that fast. Well, this is not real life, but it is. This is a different type of danger. Now, clearly, people's lives aren't on the risk. But do you need as much skill? Do you need as much control? Do you need as much feel? Do you need as much intuition, training, commitment, dedication? Do you need all those sorts of things as much as a professional racing driver in the sim world? Well, I would argue to a certain extent you probably need more, especially for those who are in the very talented bracket. You may agree, you may disagree with me, but at the end of the day, you're not in that car, are you? You're not feeling the G-forces, you're not feeling the weight shift, you're not in control, and you're not one with the car. There is a separation of you and the car. There is a separation of man and machine. And when you're sim racing, you only really have two senses to go by: touch and, of course, sight. Yes, you've got hearing and so on, but touch and sight, your force feedback and the way in which you set your car up and what you're seeing. Speed doesn't do triple screens, he doesn't do VR, he does this on one screen. You know, the rest of us do it in triple screens for immersion and so forth. This guy was racing sims when I was pouring brandy in my eye and getting drunk as a young soldier. This guy's been racing sims since a child, since a 3-4 year old tot. You are seeing not that which most of us fall into the bracket of, which is a middle-aged compulsion to prevent ourselves from taking illegal substances or drinking too much beer. Instead, we stay at home, put a headset on, and separate ourselves from our families, but actually indulge in something which gives us enormous pleasure. And I don't know about you, but over the past 5 minutes while I've had verbal diarrhea, I've absolutely enjoyed watching from the cockpit Speed catch this man up, who, let's face it, is no slow coach, is he? Thomas Olsen there in the AMG, his last lap being a 155.2, with Speed's also being a 155.2. And I think actually, just doing a manual time check, 1, 2, he's doing well, isn't he? He's certainly keeping Speed at bay. But 24 minutes left of this race. 24 minutes left of this race. Currently on the 19th lap. Very possibly, very possibly, we could well end up seeing Speed finish in 4th position as a result of his mistake coming out of, it was actually coming out of Mercedes Arena, wasn't it, into Valvoline corner. But I'm not throwing the towel in yet. Absolutely not. No, and neither should you. We raise our colours high. We raise our colours high, and we cheer our man on. Wonderful, brilliant. God, so sorry, guys. I'm on my own tonight. I know there's some great guys in RWB that I'm sure would have loved to have jumped in with me tonight and just give you a break from my immature dulcet tones, and come in here and commentate with me and give you a break from me, for the love of God. But look at this, Thomas Olsen, just slower in Mercedes Arena, no question about that, than Speed. This is where Speed had the off there, and coming into Valvoline corner now. Now Speed is very quick in here. Really, oh, crikey, holy moly, I just had a heart palpitation there. Down into Dunlop curve now. That last lap, lap 20, Thomas done it in a 155.037. Speed, a 154.697, so 0.4 of a second quicker. Up the hill now to the Schumacher S's. This is where speed carries a lot of speed, and into what is essentially the crikey, Michelin, into Michelin that we're coming into now. I think it's Michelin. Yeah, into Michelin. This is where speed carries a lot of speed into Warnstein and down the hill through the Advenbergen, the Advent Bend, and right up to the NGK extended chicane. And this is a game where he carries a lot of speed. But Thomas Olsen, fair play. Okay, let's have a close look at the timings now. Thomas Janssen in first position there with a 154.885. Second place, Mike Stoffmehl in the Audi R8, 154.697. So challenging first place there. Thomas Olsen, as we watch speed go into T1. Thomas Olsen extended T1 now into T2 into the Mercedes Arena. Thomas done lap 20 in a 154.998. As speed done it in a 155.120. So, you know, Thomas Olsen doing a fantastic job at keeping speed at bay and just keeping these 2 seconds almost on like an elastic band, really. You know, Thomas just extends away a little bit, and then speed says, no, you don't, come back. But we're talking tenths of a second. You know, these guys are absolutely on the limit. No mistakes being made, notwithstanding speeds off earlier on out of Mercedes on lap 9. But these guys really are pushing it into Dunlop Curve now. This is an hour race. I'd say that was pretty much for some of these guys. That's where they're, you know, that's their peak. They'll peak at between 40 minutes and an hour. Longer than an hour, they're entering mini endurance territory. And then, as I think it was Rigel that once quoted that, you know, over 2 minutes, that's where the men come out. Over 2 minutes, over 2 hours, that's where the men come out and play. Having done our endurance event on Saturday, which was 3 hours, notwithstanding the 100 hours worth of preparation and training, and the couple of hours in the server beforehand, I absolutely know that he's telling the truth there. As we saw all sorts of very talented people do silly mistakes after the 2 hour mark, as Debug and John D picked up on their excellent stream. And if you're an RWB member and you haven't seen that endurance stream, well, go and make a very hot cup of coffee, crack open a can of beer and sit down and watch 3 hours worth, which went fairly quickly, but was not easy. There's absolutely 100% there. Speed then, now on lap 22, still in cockpit with speed. Not sure, again, I apologise, this is not RWB quality stream here. You know, I'm family at home with 5 and everyone streams everything, and I've had to reduce the quality and all that sort of thing. So and I think I've reduced it down to 60 frames and all sorts. On the technical side of things, you're not going to get it as clear and as crisp as we usually are so very lucky to receive with our super Gandalf wizard, who does all this for us there. And this was a last minute thing, just to remind you, last minute thing, literally in the last 5 minutes, streaming this to showcase the best of us. And you know what, FX, when you re-edit the video properties, no matter where he comes, I still think it should be entitled The Best of Us, because speed is simple as that. And a shout out to OVRC, Open Visor Race Club. Great event here. You know, started with 22.
These tyre pressures.
21 still going. You just heard speed there. Fuck the tyre pressures. I'm still muted from him. I daren't go to him. So clearly he's having a problem with tyre pressures. Yeah, like I said, I daren't go to him and ask him. I'm going to leave it a couple of laps. I'm going to leave it to the 15-minute point and the last 15 minutes, the last quarter, before I ask him. Clearly those tyre pressures are now being affected. But he is still pushing. He's still on the edge. There's no question about that. I know he'll be very disappointed about the off coming out of Mercedes Arena. No question. But Speed is such a, you know, despite him saying fuck these tyre brushes, but Speed is such a collected fella. You know, he will either just put his hand up and say, "Well, it's my mistake. I screwed up." But he's certainly caught up Thomas Olsen. There's no question about that. Timings again seriously off. So all I can do is manually assess, but I reckon about 1.8 to 2 seconds there. 1, 2, yeah, you know, about 2 seconds as we see Speed coming up into the Schumacher S on the wing with Thomas Olsen there, with a frontal view of that of the pink stick, the Audi R8 into Michelin corner, into Warnsteiner, and of course now we start to go down the hill. Really, from these views, you can see the sort of elevation changes which you don't necessarily get in the cockpit or wide-angle views, but be under no illusions, they're certainly there. Into the extended NGK chicane, and of course into the final Coca-Cola corner. Now, in the last minute before the last quarter, or you know, Q4 starts, if you want to call it Q4. Of this 1 hour race at Nürburgring, this GT3 race of 22 runners with the Open Visor Race Club. Speed invited along for that event and flying our flag tonight into T1. A good line there. We saw Speed was certainly looked like he's gained a bit there. And wide at Mercedes. See how wide he goes at just coming into Mercedes. Quite narrow on the inside there as well. Now that is where Thomas Olsen has just gone through there, just on the junction there where Jake had the problem in lap 9 that caused him to spin off, as we see Olsen through Valvoline and Ford corner, down now into Dunlop curve, and Speed still with him, about 2 seconds behind him. Yeah, about 2 seconds behind him. Around Dunlop curve. Let's jump in cockpit with Speed. In cockpit with, in fact, that's in cockpit with Thomas Janssen. Thomas Janssen and Michael Stoffmill has swapped, so a bit of a situational awareness for you, notwithstanding this is Speed stream, but to give some credit to these guys, wow. Mike Stoffmill, who was applying the pressure to Speed earlier on, you know, whether you called it racing pressure, that Speed had an off just outside Mercedes Arena on lap 9, or Speed's own mistake. The fact of the matter is that guy is here in the blue and yellow R8. He was the guy that was applying pressure and is now in first position. With Thomas Janssen in the BMW M6 currently only 0.4 of a second behind in second place, with Thomas Olsen in the AMG there now just coming around Coca-Cola corner, and in cockpit now with our own Jake, our own Speed Demon, along the start-finish straight to take fourth position with 13 minutes and 47 seconds
to the fucking wall.
left. I think it's probably a good time to go to Speed. Let's unmute myself. Speed, don't want to put you off or anything like that. We're just very clearly seeing it's difficult to make up what is essentially about 2 seconds to Thomas Olsen, notwithstanding the mistake earlier on. So clearly this is frustrating for you, but in 13 minutes and 20 seconds left, do you think that you can continue to apply pressure to Thomas, or do you think that you're now in a position of waiting for him to make a mistake?
I'm just waiting for the race to end, mate. I fucked my tyre pressures up. I forgot to put them back after qualifying. So I'm running about 5 kPa too much.
Okay.
That's why it feels like a bag of shit.
Right, well there you go, ladies and gents. Alright, so what does that tell you? Well, that's all about preparation, and if Speed can make that mistake, so can you. So about 5 psi, 5 kPa you say?
Yeah, 5 kPa.
Yeah, so about 5 too high, and that is enough. Personally, I probably wouldn't feel that, but this guy does, and others will. Rigel would, Rodders would, Beans would. There are a few others out there who would. The majority of us, I'll challenge you probably wouldn't notice the difference. But that is the difference between being very fast and exceptionally fast. of which those all that I've mentioned there are. So what can you do about this now, Speed? What's your strategy? Damage limitation?
I'm just settling for fourth, mate. There's nothing I can do.
Okay. Well, look, we're going to love you and leave you. We'll talk to you after the race, but keep going. Don't lose the faith. We all believe in you, and I'm going to mute myself. Take care now. Okay. Well, there you go. Now to hopefully we will talk to Speed afterwards before we close the stream. Please hang around in hang around in YouTube. I can see. Let me just flip onto that now. Yeah, there's 14. Yeah, there's a few of you there. Hang around, please. Don't disappear. What we want to do is we want to be able to take some questions from you. Of course, you can. You know where we are in Discord. You can come in. You can ask questions there, but. Let's capture it on the stream. He's 5 kPa over on the tyre pressures. Question to you, would you have noticed the difference? And clearly Speed notices the difference there. It's making his car handle like a bag of shit, his words, not mine. And clearly making the car feel like it's on tiptoes and just not bedded in. 10 minutes and 50 seconds left. I've got all the faith in the world that he's settling for 4th place, but that's not going to stop him pushing on every single lap. If Thomas Olsen makes one mistake, then Speed will be in the position to take it from him. That said, though, let's face it, Thomas Olsen is a little bit of a kink there, but clearly Thomas Olsen is seasoned, isn't he? He's no floozy, and he's certainly not someone who's been racing for 5 minutes. He certainly knows his stuff, of that there is no question. Most of us, and again, this is RWB orientated, I make no apologies for that, but most of us would not have been able to keep Speed at a 2-second gap in a GT3 car. Even the best of us outside of Speed would have found that difficult. And over an hour's race, fair to assess that he would have eaten into those 2 seconds. But in this case, Thomas Olsen has kept that at bay. So, to our event organisers, to Rodders, to Charger, to Rigel, and to Speed himself, we're looking at names now like Mike Stoffmehl, Thomas Janssen, Thomas Olsen. These are the guys that, we want to come racing with us, surely, at RWB. We want this sort of quality around us and this sort of ability around us. And by osmosis, the rest of us will get slower. Thomas Olsen from Team ACA ASP, currently running in 3rd place. Speed Demon currently running in 4th place after an off in lap 9 out of the Mercedes arena that we've put down to tyre pressures not being reset after the race transition from the garage into the pits. Which has meant that his car is not as well bedded in, and we can see that. We saw that, didn't we? In the first 3 laps into turn 1, we knew there was something wrong there. He was overcooking it, going in too deep, and just too much speed being carried in. And of course, Mike Stoffmehl was right behind him in that blue and yellow R8, challenging at every turn. Mike Stoffmehl now in 1st place. 0.5 of a second behind him being Thomas Janssen, who was in 1st place. So riding with Jake then through the extended chicane and coming up to the Coca-Cola corner and watching Thomas. Oh crikey, no, a wide shot now. As Speed now puts the back end of the R8, rejoining the track. But Tom Pottage again from the UK and the AMG challenging now, coming to Coca-Cola corner for that 4th place. And you know what? Oh, terrible. As this is Speed Demon now retiring, unquestionably retiring. I would say that Speed is now retired. Clearly, what's happening, what happened in this last section there is Speed is now starting to feel that not only is he, the car is just not set right, but also now starting to be a liability on the pitch, on the track. And as a result of that, you know, needs to come in. Now, does he retire? This is the thing. I'm willing to bet, no matter how peeved he is, that he doesn't retire. I'm willing to bet that he fixes it, and I'm willing to bet that he rejoins. And it doesn't matter. The lesson learned is, you know what? Even the best of us can come last. Even the best of us can come at the end. And it's not the position you're in, it's the colours that you wave. And as Jake has now dropped to the floor, let's go for a wide shot. And sadly, it looks like Jake, with 100% damage, I've now had clarified to me, 100% damage. That is now Jake now has now retired from the event. What a shame! What a shame! Retired from the event. Terrible, terrible, terrible news. We're going to go to speed now. So let's prepare ourselves. No, 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 proven wrong. There you go. That is the mark of the man. It's not where you come, it's the getting on and doing it. That is the best of us, right there. That is the best of us. I'm going to server deafen him. Let's not let him peak too soon. That is the best of us right there. 16th position. You know the quality of this man. You know how fast he is out there. You know the sort of performance this man can put in. With a battered R8, with tyre pressures that are 5 kPa over, with a car that was controlling as if it was wearing ballerina shoes, with, you know, almost a minute's worth of pit time to repair that car, the battered R8 rejoins the track. Rejoins the track in 16th, 15th place. Jake now, who was in 3rd place up to lap 9, sadly an off at Mercedes Arena as a result of those tyre pressures, you know, forced him into 4th place. We knew there was something wrong. We certainly knew there was something wrong in T1 when he was going too deep in there and too wide and being challenged by Mike Stoffmill. Now Jake is in the position of chasing Dragos BB in the BMW. Personally, I don't think that's right, actually. I think he's coming across a back marker because that's an AMG. That's not a BMW. So I think actually that's Sergey. Let's check now. Let's check. No, that's not him. So actually it will be Thomas Olsen. It will be Thomas Olsen. So there you go. How ironic. Speed now looking like he's coming into the pits again. I'm sure he went into the pits there. Speed rejoined the track, but a lap down and rejoined the position at which he had his second off, and now coming into the pits in what is now 4 minutes left. And I think that's a drive-through that he's serving. Yep, that's a drive-through that he's serving. You know what? I said that this video should be titled The Best of Us, and yet again this man has shown exactly what that means. It's not just how fast you are out there, it's the mindset that you have out there. Doesn't matter how fast you are, it's your racecraft and your buy-in. This man is the fastest of us out there, but he didn't have a temper tantrum and just, you know, rage quit. He went into the pits, he repaired his car as best he could, he got back out again, he even got a penalty and had to rejoin, and had to stop, you know, had a drive through and rejoin, and he's rejoined from a position where he would normally be comfortable with, which is, you know, in the top 3, in our case usually 1st position, and what was 4th, and he's rejoined. That is the best of us right there, ladies and gents. It's not just your speed, it's your mindset, it's your buy-in, it's your example. Well done, Speed. Inspirational. Now, be under no illusions, in a chat afterwards, he will be fairly pissed off because he hasn't performed in the region at which he knows he could have done. But the fact of the matter is, to us, of course, he's had a fantastic race because the title being the best of us, and of course the message being you can be Speed Demon and still have a crash, you can be Speed Demon and still have a drive-through, you can be Speed Demon and be a lap down and rejoin the track, you can be Speed Demon and still finish a race. And if Speed can do that with his abilities, then so should every single person in RWB and all of the community out there. You know, don't give in just because your car is smashed up. You know, don't give in just because you're tired. Don't give in just because you're annoyed with other people. Don't give in because you can't win. Get back out there and get back on the horse.
Mic off. Mic on. Mic feedback off. Mic feedback on.
All right then. In the last 1 minute and 10 seconds, Speed just taking a well, actually, you know, he's a lap or so a bit down there, but in the last 1 minute of this, look at that. You know, thanks Windows, you fucking tossers, and thanks Nvidia, you're a bunch of fucking tossers as well. Fuck off with your GeForce update. Poke it up your arse. 45 seconds left to go. This is a stream about Speed Demon there, called The Best of Us, and it's called The Best of Us because the best of us didn't win on this occasion. The best of us, you know, is going to finish last in 14th place. But you know what? He's not last, is he? Because 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21 and 22 DNF'd. Speed, you know, the best of us, smashed up car, wrong tyre pressures, wrong setup, bit of an admin problem at the beginning there. Fixes the car, has a penalty, does a drive-through and crosses the line, finishing the Open Visor Racing Club GT3 event at Nürburgring in 14th position. Well done, Jake, the best of us. I think Jake has got Speed Demon there, has got a one more lap to do. I think the leaders had crossed it, which has left these guys to finish the last lap. There's a race timer. I think the race timer had gone off after the leader had gone around past the start line. Yeah, indeed. There's Mike Stoffmill. You know, fair play to him in first position, and he will cross this event in first place. Second place, Thomas Olsen. Thomas coming up to the Michelin corner there, and into Warnsteiner, I believe. Let's just check. Yeah, into Warnsteiner. Tom Pottage through the chicane there, but down to our own man in 14th place. And let's ride in cockpit with him now as he's on his last section. Last section of the Nürburgring 1 hour event, GT3 cars with Open Visor Race Club. A great event for them. 22, great numbers, small community. We all need each other to buy into each other. And a great performance from, as I said, the best of us. Not just our fastest, but the best mindset. Keep going, never give in. Even the best of us comes last. Well done, Jake. I'm going to put that onto a wide shot, and now I'm going to interview Speed before we close down the stream. Speed, are you okay to talk once you've slowed down?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Speed, I know that wasn't the position that you wanted at the end of that race, but we've all come to accept the fact that actually this race has doubled up into something actually quite wonderful. We're going to call it the best of us. We think you showed a wonderful example out there of never giving in. No matter how fast you are or slow you are, sometimes it's not always going to go your way. Speed and sim racing means that sometimes you're going to have a crash, even the most talented of us. And what you never do is give in, even with a drive-through penalty. You know, apart from this being a very disappointing result for you, would you promote that mindset?
Yeah, it's always about finishing, and I was really pissed off because it's my own mistake. If it was someone else, I probably wouldn't have been as pissed as anything. But it's me. I'm always the perfectionist, and it was my fault that I didn't put the tire pressures back, which has caused me the issues from the outset.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, would you put that down to? Would you put that down to solely a? Let's let's. Would you put that down solely to a race room issue with regards to transition? Should it be, you know, does that need to change? Perhaps do we need to make a suggestion to
No,
S3S?
no, it was just down to me purely. I only put them up because I noticed in qualifying that my tire pressures were quite low, so I put it up for the
Yeah,
one lap, for the couple of laps I did.
yeah,
I just forgot. It's one of them that you need to remember, put them back down, when you go into race.
yes,
It's like it showed at the start where I was really good. I was right on Jans's ass
yeah,
for the first 5 or 6 laps, but once I realised that my tire pressures were going up and up and up, it was just a losing battle from them.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's not a question of, yes, you've got the pressure. The car just feels sloppy.
Yeah, yeah, and it looked like Mike Stoffmeer was certainly applying pressure into T1, and we noticed that on some occasions you were perhaps going slightly too deep, and he was taking advantage of that. Mike Stoffmeer eventually finishing the race in first, but was that down to the fact that your tyres were too pressurised, 5 kPa above, and you were losing grip into T1, or was that just you late braking?
I think that was my pedal as well, and it was a bit of a combination of it all tonight. I
Yeah,
think the reason I spun was down to my accelerator sticking on a bit in the initial part of braking.
yeah, yeah,
So it's you're not as efficient, and obviously when you're late, when you're braking as late as we are nowadays, it's when you've got your accelerator on pushing you forward. You kind of, and plus with my tire pressures being overinflated, it was a slidey car as it is.
yeah, yeah,
So once I lost the rear, I just couldn't catch it back.
yeah. And I mean, you must have been spitting. I mean, you was challenging so well, certainly for the first 9 laps. You must have been spitting feathers when the incident happened, coming out of Mercedes Arena, right?
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really pushing it. Like I said, I knew my tire pressures had gone up. That's why it was. That's why I dropped back ever so slightly, just because it wasn't reacting to what I wanted it to do.
Yeah,
It was just kind of a bit wallowy, and it wouldn't. When I got on the accelerator, it was a bit lazy, and it just tended to just keep the traction in too much. So it was going to be a fighting battle, but I felt confident. And obviously, just going into that corner, I'll have to check your replay of the stream back and see if it's got pedal inputs, because I did feel like my accelerator was on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I did feel I was running into corners a bit in the couple of laps before.
yeah. And what about the your perception of the other guys on there? Thomas, Olsen, well, I've forgotten their names now. But all the guys, certainly the first 3 there. Thomas Olsen was the guy that you were chasing in the AMG. I mean, he maintained, didn't he, between a 1.8 and a 2.5 second gap between you for essentially the whole of the race once you'd rejoined in 4th. I mean, that's some pace he was doing there.
Yeah, obviously it was awesome pace throughout. I think everyone was on the ball type thing, and that's what you enjoys that thing. And I could see the gap coming down ever so slightly, and then it wouldn't even be a mistake. It was just the traction control
Yeah,
would kick in too much with
yeah,
it being a bit sloppy,
yeah,
and you just lose 2-3 tenths on your lap time.
yeah,
And it was just a losing battle. And then obviously when I spun out and got punched, I was ready to just fucking killing someone,
yeah,
Because
Well,
wasn't even anything wrong. He just literally just decided, I'm just going to fucking spin now.
yeah, yeah, interesting. Well, speed. For us, for you, disappointing. For us, a great example of, um, you know, never giving in and the best of us. And I know that you'll be back with on another invite, I'm sure, no question, with Open Visor, and we'll look forward to following you on that. Notwithstanding that, of course, this Saturday is extension of the GT2 League, I believe, at Nürburgring. I think you're racing in that.
I don't know. I think I might be skipping the last two. I've got an iRacing 24 hours to prep for, which
Oh,
I've done
true.
results for,
On the
and that's
17th,
in
on the 17th of Jan, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Right, well, there you go. I'm going to close the stream. So there you go. That was the best of us. Not necessarily winning this time, but coming last after a smash, after coming off at lap 9, after a smash, after coming off at the NGK chicane, and also hitting the wall. It didn't rage quit, didn't give in, and then having a drive-through penalty, kept going. Even the best of us, can come last, and that's what we should all take away from this stream. Doesn't matter how good you are. Don't just be prepared to win. Be prepared to lose. You know what we say. Don't race alone. Race RWB. Till next time then. Take care.